In the narrow lanes of a crowded city, where dreams often got lost in the noise of traffic and tired footsteps, lived a young man named Arjun. He was 27, old enough to feel the weight of failure, yet young enough to still hope for something better. His room was small, barely big enough for his bed, an old table, and a broken mirror that reflected the same story every morning: tired eyes, unshaven face, and an unfinished life. Once Arjun had dreams, big dreams. He wanted to start his own company, to build something that mattered. But after years of rejections, debts, and broken promises, those dreams had faded. Every day he sent out resumes. Every day he waited for replies that never came. His friends had moved on. Some married, some settled abroad. And Arjun, he was stuck, caught between what he wanted and what life had given him. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the concrete skyline, Arjun walked aimlessly through the market. The air smelled of rain and roasted corn. Streetlights flickered to life. He wasn't looking for anything, maybe just a reason to keep going. And that's when he saw it. A small antique shop tucked between two buildings. Dusty, dimly lit, almost forgotten, like it didn't belong there. Its sign read, "Mirrors of Time." Curious, Arjun stepped inside. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and stories untold. Mirrors of every shape and size covered the walls. Round, square, cracked, shining, dull. Some were so ancient they looked like they had seen centuries pass. An old shopkeeper sat behind the counter, reading a newspaper yellowed with age. He looked up, his eyes sharp yet kind. "Looking for something?" he asked. Arjun shrugged. "Not really. Just passing by," the old man smiled faintly. "Nobody ever comes here just passing by." Arjun frowned, confused. "Then why do people come?" The shopkeeper pointed toward the back of the store, where a tall, covered object stood beneath a dusty cloth. "They come for that," he said softly. "The mirror of tomorrow." Something about the name made Arjun curious. "What does it do?" The man leaned forward. "It shows you your tomorrow. Not what fate decides, but what you create." Arjun laughed nervously. "A mirror that shows the future? Sounds like magic." The old man didn't laugh. "Magic?" he said. "Maybe. Or maybe just truth. Do you want to see?" Arjun hesitated, but curiosity is a strange thing. It often speaks louder than logic. "I'll look," he said. The shopkeeper nodded and slowly lifted the cloth. The mirror was tall, ancient, and framed in silver that had turned dark over time. Its surface shimmered faintly, almost alive. Arjun stepped closer. His reflection looked the same. Tired, restless, uncertain. "Nothing special," he muttered. The old man's voice echoed softly. "It doesn't show what will be. It shows what can be. Come back tomorrow. But remember, the mirror changes only when you do." Arjun left the shop half amused, half intrigued. He didn't believe in magic, but something about that mirror stayed in his mind all night. Next morning he woke early. Something he hadn't done in months. He remembered the old man's words and went back to the shop. When he looked into the mirror again, it was the same reflection, the same eyes, same dullness. He sighed. "Guess it's just a scam." The shopkeeper smiled from behind him. "You're looking for change in glass, not in yourself." Arjun frowned. "What do you mean?" The man simply said, "Do something different today. Then come back." That day, Arjun decided to act. He opened his old laptop, dusted it off, and started working on a small idea. A simple app he'd once dreamt of building. He worked all day, fueled not by hope, but by a strange energy he hadn't felt in a long time. That night, he couldn't sleep. The next morning, he went back to the mirror. And this time, something had changed. His reflection looked a little brighter, his shoulders straighter, his eyes alive. He stared at it, shocked. "It worked?" The shopkeeper nodded. "The mirror doesn't lie. It reflects your effort." Arjun smiled for the first time in weeks. From that day, he made it a ritual. Every morning, he'd work harder, learning, improving, trying. Every evening, he'd visit the mirror, and every time, it showed a slightly different version of him, stronger, calmer, more focused. Weeks passed. The rejections still came. The struggles didn't vanish. But Arjun's reflection no longer looked defeated. It looked alive. He started believing in himself again. One day, after months of effort, Arjun came to the shop, exhausted but proud. He'd finally launched his app, small, imperfect, but his own creation. He stood before the mirror, expecting to see something grand, maybe success, maybe wealth. But what he saw stunned him. His reflection was gone. The mirror showed nothing, just emptiness. He panicked. What's happening? Why can't I see myself? The old man walked closer, his voice calm. Because you don't need it anymore. Arjun looked at him confused. What do you mean? The man smiled. When you came here, you needed the mirror to believe. Now belief lives inside you. You've stopped looking for your future in reflections. You've started building it. Arjun stood silent, his eyes wet. For the first time, he truly understood. A year passed. Arjun never saw the old man again. The shop had vanished, replaced by a bookstore. Nobody remembered it ever being there. But Arjun didn't need the mirror anymore. He'd built his company, small but growing. More than that, he'd built himself. One night, while cleaning his room, he found a small shard of silver glass wrapped in paper. A piece of that old mirror. On it were faint words engraved. Your tomorrow is not waiting for you. It's waiting for the version of you who's ready to create it. He smiled softly. Shukriya, he whispered. Years later, Arjun stood before a group of young dreamers at a seminar. The hall was filled with faces that reminded him of his old self. Lost, hopeful, hungry for direction. He said, once I met a mirror that showed me my tomorrow. But it didn't reveal my success. It revealed my reflection, dull and tired. And that's when I realized the mirror wasn't magic, it was me. He paused, letting his words sink in. When you start believing in yourself, when you stop waiting for miracles, life starts reflecting your strength. The future isn't written in stars or mirrors. It's written in the choices you make, one honest day at a time. The crowd was silent. Some smiled, some had tears. Arjun ended softly. If you ever find your reflection dim, don't curse the mirror. Change what it shows. Change yourself. He walked off the stage to the sound of quiet applause, not the thunder of fame, but the sound of people who understood. Outside, the sky was gold with sunset. He caught his reflection in a glass window. Calm, confident, grateful. He smiled. Tomorrow, he whispered, I'll make you even better. Moral? Hunter's voice. Sometimes life gives you mirrors, not to show what's coming, but to remind you what you can become. Don't wait for your future to change. Change yourself, and the future will follow. You are the reflection of your effort. Nothing more, nothing less.